Welcome. The creative revolution starts now. We are almost ready to delve into the practice of inspiring, but we still need to lay down a little bit of the foundation. What is inspiring? How does it work? Why do we want to engage in it? Well, let's review what we know so far. The practice of inspiring involves embodying nature, which physicist David Bohm describes as, quote, undivided wholeness in flowing movement. To embody nature means to experience that undivided wholeness, something we talked about in the last episode, and also it means to channel the flowing movement, that flow of essence that we've described in previous episodes and that we're calling love play. In this episode, we're focusing on Panholism, which is not a philosophy, it's not an ideology, it's a fundamental quality of the universe. Panholism simply means that the undivided wholeness of nature abides in everything in the universe, everywhere and always, at every level and layer. This quality of Panholism has been identified by physicists like David Bohm. He said that the universe conforms to two different ways of being simultaneously. One is the explicate order in which the entire universe of form, of thoughts in here and things out there, is unfolding from the undivided wholeness of nature. The second is the implicate order in which that undivided wholeness enfolds itself into everything in the universe. This implicate order has important ramifications for our own efforts and exploration of inspiring. Because if the undivided wholeness of nature is enfolded into everything at every layer of the universe, it has to abide in you and in me. This is a very exciting idea. It means that the entire universe is unfolding from undivided wholeness within you. That is why, if you can embody nature, you can tap into the central creative genius of the universe from which the entire universe unfolds. Everything, all thoughts and all things are unfolding from that wholeness at every moment in time, and that wholeness is living inside of you. To embody nature, you don't have to chase down something that is outside of yourself. The whole point of the implicate order is that nature in its wholeness is already there inside of you. You simply have to dissolve the psychological boundaries that are keeping you from connecting to that wholeness. When you succeed in embodying wholeness, you can feel fully alive, fully yourself, and fully creative, because nature and its wholeness is the creative impulse, the creative consciousness of the universe. Of course, nature is conscious because you are part of nature and you are conscious. But I would go even further to say that nature and its undivided wholeness is consciousness itself. Consciousness is a single unitary entity or quality, and we're going to be discussing it much more in the next episode, especially as it relates to the practice of inspiring and to your creativity. For the rest of this episode, I want to address the question, how do you know that Panholism is real? How do you test its validity? In the last episode, I told you that undivided wholeness is not something that can be conceptualized like any other idea or thought, because it is transcendent. Undivided wholeness has no boundaries. You cannot wrap your head around it. You have to experience it directly. That is the beauty. And when you can connect with undivided wholeness in the most intimate and direct way possible, it is the greatest feeling in the world. That is why I want to share these ideas with you, because the practice of inspiring, which allows you to connect with and embody nature and its wholeness, is a way to make now not just great, but really, really great, infinite and eternal. And yes, if you're artistic or creative, it happens to connect you with the creative genius of the universe from which all thoughts and all things arise. That's where you want to be, because now you're connecting with the stream and flow of all the great essence in the world, including all the most beautiful art and all the most profound ideas and all the most important breakthroughs. So the only way you're ever going to prove panholism to yourself is to experience it directly. When you connect in this intimate way with undivided wholeness, you come to feel that the wholeness that abides in you is abiding in everything, and that brings you into a condition of perfect connectedness. Ultimately, that's what this is about. I know that it's a fundamental impulse in my own being to be as fully connected as I can be. That brings me into the space of love and joy, bliss, ecstasy, and delight. It also creates that I-thou relationship with the universe that people like Martin Buber have spoken so eloquently about. But make no mistake about it, when you connect with that wholeness, you tap into a creative force that is limitless in its expansiveness. So when we practice inspiring, we embody nature, which means that we experience undivided wholeness. We feel that undivided wholeness connecting us to all of creation, and we channel the flow of essence from which all creativity emerges. That's a really exciting proposition, because we're going to take our creativity and turn it into something so expansive that there will be no limitations on what you can create. That's what we're aiming for. But to be honest with you, I don't need to create anything at all when I am embodying nature in all of its glory, because that experience, I've already told you, is the greatest feeling in the world for me, and it's enough. So there are two camps, right? Some people want to go to the moon to experience what it's like to walk on the moon, and others want to bring back some moon rocks to analyze. I personally am in both camps, but I am perfectly fine with just embodying nature, because when I am living in that space, I am connected to infinity and eternity. The here in which I abide when I am so connected is infinite, and the now is eternal. That space of connectedness with wholeness is enough. I'm grateful that I get to live in that space as much as I do through the practice of inspiring, and that's why I want to share it with you, because I would love nothing more for you than to experience that sense of what panholism really means. It's not an idea. It's not a concept like any other. It's an experience of connection at the deepest level, and that's where we're going next. So thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more.